pennies and
Hey,
points her butt at
yo.
Shion, asking her to do the same as she did to her, adding that she would use her tongue to
Whoa.
open the way for water to
What
slip
the-
and do the same.
Girls had to drink water to their butts when stuck on the desert island. What?
The story begins with the scene
Chat,
of
don't
4
think
high
stuff
school
like
girls
that.
lying
Okay, but we watch it.
unconscious on the beach. They all have pretty hot bodies, but those are not what the plot is about. As they wake up, the girls introduce themselves
What?
to each other. This is Asuka, a member of the basketball club and track and field team. The next girl to address herself is Shion, who is wearing her school blazer and has a hobby of playing the piano.
Hey,
The short-haired girl with glasses is Mutsu. She likes reading books and cooking. And the last girl is a girl with long blonde hair named Homare. She tells the others that
Why are they
this is
singing
the
like
first
that?
time she's been left stranded on a deserted island.
what do you mean the
Now
first?
that-
Oh, is it like a normal occurrences that you just get left stranded? Oh, this is my first time, guys.
Homare mentions the island. The other girls eventually acknowledge their current situation. Let's rewind to 12 hours
Okay.
earlier. Floating on the ocean surface are the remains of a plane after a terrible air crash. Homare is in a coma while holding on to a piece of the exploded engine. In her dream, she recalls her younger life, spending time with her survivalist father. They lived in extreme conditions from
they
spring
killed a
to winter,
moose?
from the forests to the highest and coldest places. One time, they had to survive
All
by
I'm asking is why are they all in like schoolgirl dresses on the plane?
eating moose testicles, the taste of which was
She
so
ate
disgusting
what?
that it woke Homare up from her coma. The 4 girls are on a
Eating
metal board
testicles?
floating in the middle of the sea, and Shion starts whining because of her thirst. Asuka tells Shion to drink seawater to ease her thirst.
Yeah, bro, you don't
Homare
want to do
stops
that.
the girl, saying salt water will dehydrate their bodies even more. At this time, they notice a school of flying fish jumping out of the sea. Homare quickly grabs a wooden stick and knocks a fish out. Homare takes off her shirt and wraps it
Just
around the
what-
fish.
Hey,
She then rolls the wooden stick back and forth to soften the fish and drops its blood into her mouth.
what the?
Homare
What kind of like? What way is?
stick back and forth to soften the fish and drops its blood into her mouth. Homare kindly shares the fish with the girls, but none of them want to taste the suspicious liquid. After finishing the fish, she
What
puts
do you
her
mean
shirt
the suspicious liquid? Obviously, it's blood.
back on and still feels comfortable in it. The girls continue their journey on the ocean until
Yo,
the
that
next
girl's
morning
wild.
when they noticed an island nearby. As they jump into the water and swim towards the island, they attract a shark due to the smell of blood on Homare's shirt.
Oh
Facing
my
the shark
God.
is just child play for Homare. She calmly throws a cell phone battery at the shark, which gives it an electric shock and scares
That's
it away.
not how it works.
With the skills she picked up from her dad, Homare teaches the girls ways to
Yo, what was our dad teaching her? Oh yeah, throw a battery in there, gonna electrocute a
survive
shark.
on this isolated island, including eating cicadas. She shows them how to get pure water. They can get it from a coconut, a liquid filter system, or from distillation. They can also collect
that's all
rainwater
true.
or find a freshwater source. Mutsu and Shion can have a little rest while Homare and Asuka head to the woods to look for fresh water. After a while, as the two contrast in physical status, Asuka can't catch up with Homare and wants to take a rest. Homare gives Asuka
Bro, they're
cold
just
shoulders
walking.
and tells her friend that she's fine going alone. The girls then reach the middle of the woods when Homare notices a sawfly, which is a signal of a nearby freshwater source. And the two continue their journey to the deep jungle. Back to Shion and Mutsu. While Mutsu is resting under a tree, Shion finds something and asks her to come close. The girls have found a dried coconut. At the same time, Asuka is so tired that she can't even move. Homare touches the ground and feels the dirt wet. She knows there must be water around here. She digs for some soil, puts
She's
it
just being lazy. At this point, bro, you have no excuses. What are you doing?
can't even move. Homare
Can't
touches
even
the
move.
ground and feels the dirt wet. She knows there must be water around here. She digs for some soil, puts it in a small sack, and squeezes the water out in Asuka's mouth. Finally, there's some
How
water.
big? Maybe they're just
Puts it in a
drink the
small
milk.
sack and squeezes the water out in Asuka's mouth. Finally, there's some water for her. Asuka takes the
What
soil
is-
sack
what
and
is-
sucks for water. She even thinks the water tastes good. But Asuka's world soon collapses after knowing that the sack is actually Homare's sock. Meanwhile, after attempting to crack the coconut, the girls at the beach are hopeless to know it's
Hey,
not only empty, but also a rotten coconut. Suddenly, raindrops start falling. The girls are overjoyed as they don't have to worry about being thirsty, at least for now. Their next plan is to find shelter, but as they're starving, they need to put looking for food as a priority. Homare goes to find some food and brings back a sea urchin, 2 cicadas, some seaweed, and a mysterious jar of black liquid. They decide to play rock, paper, scissors for a fair dish picking.
What is that black liquid, huh? Where did she find that? On a deserted island.
Shion wins the first round. She picks the sea urchin and enjoys it as a delicious slide of sashimi after Homare seasons it. Asuka aims for the seaweed, as she doesn't want to swallow the other suspicious
I want to see what that
But Mutsu is the one to
black
win the
liquid
next
is.
round, and she picks the seaweed. It seems to be a dead end for Asuka. When there are only two choices left, the dark liquid or the cicadas, Homare lets Asuka choose one herself. She picks up the jar, thinking there's blueberry jam inside, but she immediately vomits after one
Why
first
would
bite
you-
because it's actually some animal liquid feces.
Wha-
Homare breaks a cicada
What?
in half, digs out its brain with a toothpick, and eats the
Yo, these girls are wild. She just ate animal poop.
Homare breaks a cicada in half, digs out its brain with a toothpick, and eats the substance in joyfulness. She gives the last cicada to Asuka. Asuka is touched by such a friendly act by Homare, but she really can't eat it. Fortunately, Mutsu shares half of her seaweed with Asuka. That night, they sleep at the beach, and another day has passed. The next morning, Homare starts putting up a tent so that they can at least have a place to stay at night. Asuka looks at Homare with admiration in her eyes, knowing that Homare is becoming a master of survival on this island. Suddenly, Asuka turns whiny, asking Homare to find her food. The other girl
Bro, this girl,
admonish her
if I was on that island, she's good. She's out, dude. She's not doing anything. All she does is complain and just is a waste of resources.
knowing that Homare
Bro,
is becoming a master of survival on this island.
She's getting kicked
Suddenly,
off.
Asuka turns whiny, asking Homare to find her food. The other girls admonish her for being all about herself and making her feel embarrassed. Homare is running out of ropes for the tent. She tells the others to stay at the beach while she looks for some more. Asuka volunteers to help her. On the way into the woods, she finds a plant looking like a taro plant. She tries to pull it out and figures it has a turnip root, apart from the fact that the turnip has stripes on it. Homare finds the plant strange and
That
suggests
totally
that
doesn't look
Asuka not eat
suspicious.
it. But the stubborn Asuka doesn't listen to her advice and keeps saying it's fine to eat the plant.
Yo, is this the one that ate the poop? That's her, right? Did she not learn the lesson?
Eventually, Homare can't help but tell Asuka to test her allergic range, which is a survival skill to check how one's body reacts to a strange thing. The way to test it is to scrub it on Asuka's skin. If her skin remains the same, the plant isn't harmful. If her skin got a rash, the plant could be toxic. Asuka teases Homare, facing her butt at her friend, not knowing that Homare actually scrubs the turnip on her butt. After a while, her butt got a rash, so Homare has to help Asuka clean up the mess.
What?
While Homare
She just right into.
is collecting vines for the tents, Asuka lies on the grass because of her hunger. As she reaches her hand out to cover her eyes from the sunlight, a cicada lands on her arm. She quickly
Like, no hesitation, dude. Literally no hesitation.
Asuka teases Homare, facing her butt at her friend, not knowing
Chat?
that Homare actually scrubs the turnip on her butt. After a while, her butt got a rash, so Homare has to help Asuka clean up the mess.
And you
While
use the
Homare
water?
is collecting vines for the tents,
Okay, dude.
Asuka lies on the grass because of her hunger. As she reaches her hand out to cover her eyes from the sunlight, a cicada lands on her arm. She quickly grabs it, tending to pick its brain out, but she can't do it. She can't take away such a little life. Eventually, she lets it go. But Homare catches it and flicks its head as if it's a bottle cap. Eventually, the tent is somewhat completed. Shion suggests they build a bathroom, making the other girls speechless. It's nearly dark, and Homare and Mutsu are looking for some food at the beach. They take off their clothes and go to the shallow water to forage for snails and clams. After collecting enough hermit crabs, the girls return to the tent, and Homare starts making fire with a piece of glass. The girls then sit around the grilling stones waiting for their mouth-watering seafood meal. They are so grateful to finally have a proper meal after many struggling days. Homare tells her friend to eat as much as they want, for she's caught a lot of hermit crabs just in case they need more. Her next plan is to teach the girls to hunt for bigger animals. The girls find a stream in the forest. As they approach the stream, Homare notices a cage in front of which there are some tiny solid black balls. She picks up a ball and sniffs it, realizing that it's rabbit's feces. So the girls quickly make a trap for whatever material they can find. Homare sets up a rope ring to catch the rabbit.
Okay.
The girls go back to their tents right at the moment Shion has finished collecting wooden sticks. She asks her friends if they have got the rabbit yet, but Homare tells her it'd take a few days until their trap managed to catch the rabbit. Shion can't help but whine about how they will starve tonight. Homare tells her friend not to worry much. She'll look for something to eat, but which can just be hermit crabs. Seeing that her friend is sick of eating hermit crabs, Homare says she'll dive deeper to look for some clams. The word clam really lifts Shion's mood up. She blissfully waves goodbye to her friends on the journey to the sea.
Why do I feel like half of these, like half of them are actually useful and the other half are so useless? Like they're literally not doing anything, just like give us food.
While her friends don't really appreciate her farewell. Asuka and Homare are at the
Yo.
reef. They take off their clothes and jump into the water looking for clams. Underwater, as Asuka is scared of the
Is that a
dark, she
shark
looks
again?
around for Homare. Homare at the time has been at the bottom, flipping the rock to find clams. She even uses her air bubble as diving goggles to see clearer. Seeing Homare come back, Shion can't
What the hell? Is that real? Bro, there's no way you can like...
She even uses her air bubble as diving goggles to see clearer.
Nah, that's
Seeing
fake,
Homare
right?
come back, Shion can't hide her joy, rushes to hug her friend and thanks her for the hard work. But her happiness can't last long when she knows what Homare brings back are actually starfish. Homare says those are northern Pacific Ocean starfish, one of the edible starfish species. When being boiled, these creatures release carbon bubbles which help clean up the metal pot. Shion is still down in the dumps as she can't believe that she has to eat starfish. Homare gives Shion a cooked starfish, telling her to eat it. Shion still hesitates, but when she sees the scratches on Homare's hand, she happily enjoys the starfish and keeps praising the dish. Homare is also happy to see her friend being less
Okay, bro, there's literally nothing to eat. And you're being picky. If you can eat it, okay, you better not be picky or you're gonna die. Like, you eat it or you die. Like, come on, dude.
The next morning, Asuka and Mutsu come to check the rabbit trap and find the trap seems to work. They slowly approach the bush, and it's true that there's a rabbit stuck in there. As
Oh,
the
rip
rabbit's about to
rabbit.
escape, Asuka grabs the rope and pulls it back. Mutsu, with a stick in her hand, is in charge of killing the animal, but she's unable to aim at the rabbit. Eventually, she sits on the ground with disappointment on her face. Doesn't want her friend to cry, Asuka takes the stick and ends the rabbit's life. Shion and Homare are sitting in the tent, suffering from their hunger, when they see their friends come back with the rabbit. Everyone is so excited as it's been quite a while since they last had meat in their meal. They enjoyed every bite of the rabbit meat. When they finish their meal, it's dark. The girls lie on the beach together, feeling thankful for their fullest meal ever since they were left stranded on this island. The next day, Homare decides to explore the island to enhance their survival chances, and she needs one person to go with her. All of the girls volunteer to go, so Homare has to choose one of them, who is Mutsu. For their journey, they prepare water, a rope, a knife, and some dried shells. The other girls can't hide the sadness on their face when they have to stay in the tent. After a while of walking...
You know, they could do something else. Like the other two girls, they could, you know, maybe look for some food or something.
Along the beach, Homare and Mutsu find plania, which is an edible plant. They stop to eat it and continue their walk. Until the evening, the girls find a place that looks like a harbor. Homare touches the ground in the area and says that this place has been abandoned for a long time based on the amount of grass growing. At night, they grilled the dried shells to eat for dinner. Mutsu is worried for the other girls that they might do something silly like eating poisonous toadstools and burning the tent. Mutsu and Homare can't even think of them in any positive way. Suddenly, they hear a rustle in the bush behind them. Turns out it's Asuka and Shion who happen to be here for a walk. Never on earth that Homare would believe in those girls. That night, they share a small net to sleep on. The next morning, Homare finds the girls some crabs and herbs. She says they'll continue their journey after breakfast. She draws her plan on the ground, following which the four of them will go in different directions and return when they've done walking 1,000 steps.
Bro, I feel like the other two girls would just get lost again and like find them, like just follow them.
Mutsu counts every step of hers. She eventually finds a Japanese lemon tree in the woods. When the three of them are worried for Shion, she shows up, telling the girls there's a house in the forest and asking them to follow her. They're so excited and run after Shion just to...
It's gonna turn out that this island was never abandoned, that they're just like somewhere on the beach.
Figure out the house she mentioned is just a rundown. Homare finds a pair of shears that might be a little rusty, but are still useful enough for them. She hits it with a rock and breaks it into 2 shears. The girls then use the shears to get some lemons. The next morning, they decide to return to their tent. Homare sees an 8-strand rope near the cliff. It's a bit far, but she wants to use it for her tent. So she ties a rock and throws it off the cliff to test its height. Finding it safe, she jumps straight into the water. After getting the 8-strand rope, she climbs up like Spider-Man. As she's
Yo,
managed to get on the cliff, it starts raining. The girls run back to their tent in a hurry. In fact, staying under the tent doesn't help much. The tent is leaky, and
I
they're
was gonna say that tent doesn't look good, man. Like, that didn't look like what?
still soaking wet. After the heavy rain, a lot of bamboo trees washed ashore. Homare suggests that they use bamboo sticks to make a better roof for their shelter. She then ties them up and pulls them along the beach. As she needs someone to ride the bamboo, Shion and Asuka volunteer to be the riders. It's fun at first, but then Shion gets seasick and starts vomiting. In order to use the bamboo, Homare puts them on fire so that they'll be cracked. Eventually, the girls manage to make a proper roof. The next day, Homare uses a bottle as a magnifying glass and a sharp bamboo stick as a lance to catch a flounder. Shion also wants to be as strong as Homare, so she asks to join Homare for the next day. The next morning, after waving farewell to Asuka and Mutsu, Shion and Homare start their hunting session. Shion sails on a raft while Homare dives around for more fish. After catching a black sea bream, Homare walks back towards the shore. She notices a strange current flowing back into the ocean. She stands on the highest rock looking for Shion, but Shion is nowhere to be found.
Oh damn! Did she drown?
No matter how she screams, there's still no response from her friend. Asuka and Mutsu are collecting dried wooden sticks when they hear Homare's shout. They immediately head to Homare's place where she tells them that Shion has disappeared and that she could be flown away by the ocean's currents. Asuka questions Homare about why she didn't stick with Shion, but what she receives is just an apology from Homare. Mutsu tells Asuka to stay calm. Then Homare makes a raft to sail out to sea, searching for Shion. Although their raft isn't big enough to sail across the ocean, Homare and the other girls are determined to bring Shion back at all costs. Meanwhile, Shion is on her raft floating further and further away from land. She's so scared that she starts crying, but then remembers Homare's words that crying will cause her dehydration, so she tries to calm herself. She sadly sits on the raft, wondering if her friends have figured out her disappearance or not. She really doesn't want to say goodbye to them in this way. Suddenly, she sees a small island not far away. She decides to make a move and sail to the island. She's got to fight for her survival. Asuka and Mutsu are preparing food to welcome their friends. They believe that Homare and Shion will come back. Mutsu is still a little bit worried for Shion, but Asuka tells her she should put their trust in Homare.
Nah, dude, they're gone. That's it. That's the first girl is definitely like drowning somewhere.
After a little effort, Shion finally gets to the island, but it is in fact a giant rocky island, which means there's no animal or plants there. On the way, searching for fresh water, she finds a cave, hoping there's some water inside, but the answer is still no. Eventually, she sits at the cave wall and starts sobbing. She really doesn't want to die alone here. Homare is on her way looking for Shion, but no matter how far she sails, it seems impossible for her to find her friend. She wants to get to a higher place to observe, so she uses her bamboo oars as a pivot and jumps up into the sky. She finally sees
Okay, what? She did what? She didn't.
So she uses her bamboo oars as a pivot and jumps up
Okay, dude. That's definitely how it did not work.
into the sky. She finally sees a faraway island. Shion is losing hope. She's now accepting the fact that no one can ever find
She yeeted herself into the
a
sky.
faraway island. Shion is losing hope. She's now accepting the fact that no one can ever find her. Suddenly, she hears Homare's voice, and as she looks up, her beloved friend is in front of her eyes. She asks why Homare is here. Homare gives her a smile and tells her everything is fine now. She's here to save her. Her words touch Shion's heart, and she couldn't help but cry and give Homare a tight hug. But Homare didn't bring water. Shion is worried that they will not be able to turn back to the other island, as, according to her, there's nothing they can take from this island to maintain their living status. Shion then takes Homare to the cave she found earlier. It seems to be dark and narrow inside. Homare screams into the cave, starting in a lot of bats. Seeing the bats flying out of the cave, Homare assumes that there's nothing edible on this island. There's some water, but it's polluted because of the bats' feces. If they drink this water, they'll be infected with some kind of disease. The important thing for them to do now is collect plastic bottles to repair their bamboo raft. Shion gives Homare a hand and they start working together. Shion asks Homare for the use of those plastic bottles. Homare tells her that when they got here, they sailed in the direction of the ocean currents. Now that they want to get back more easily, they need to tie the bottles to the raft and leave them floating. But it's surely easier said than done. Shion is highly dehydrated while Homare is losing her energy from all
What
of
are
this
these
journey.
like random shots? Like, dude, what does that shot achieve?
Shion is highly dehydrated while Homare
What does this give?
is losing her energy from all of this journey. They stored the polluted water in the Batcave in 2 bottles and placed
Fan
them on the
service
raft,
at its best.
hoping the UV rays from the sun would kill the bacteria in them, but the result didn't come close to meeting their expectations. Shion can't take it anymore. She really wants to drink the water. Homare stops her from doing such a stupid act because if she drank the polluted water, she'd throw up and get diarrhea, which would lead to more water loss. But she needs to be hydrated anyway, so Homare has an idea. In fact, water can be absorbed via the large intestine,
no.
and Shion can take water
She's
into
gonna
her
put
body
the
through
poop
her
water.
anus without worrying about
She's gonna put the poop water in her
getting
ass.
diarrhea. Homare asks Shion to take off her panties and point her butt up high. Homare then keeps water in her mouth.
Oh,
I
she
don't
puts it in her own mouth.
think I need to tell you what happens next. Let your imagination fly. After giving Shion water, it's Homare's turn.
Bro, she put the poop water in her mouth to to spit it in her ass.
Happens next. Let your imagination fly. After giving Shion water, it's Homare's turn to take water. She takes off her panties and points her butt at Shion, asking her to do the same as she did to her, adding that she would use her tongue to open the way for water to sneak to do the same as she did to her, adding that
Hold up. What?
she would use her tongue to open the way for water to sneak in. It's all for their survival. After the two have been hydrated, Shion can't stop thinking about what happened and tells Homare to keep it a secret and stay silent about this incident until they die. The island eventually starts appearing in front of their eyes. The two put in their last effort to sail to the island, where their friends have been standing at the beach waving for them. The girls give each other a big hug as they finally reunite. And that's it for today's anime summary. I hope you guys enjoyed.